Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Flipside. I am yours sincerely, Okmani Joy Chirindu. On today's episode, we'll be talking about modernization and our Nigerian culture, the aspects in which modernization has come to invade our culture, and then the challenges, advantages, disadvantages. I have with me Wilson Omasho.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure being here.
And also I have Fred Ogunsui.
It's my pleasure.
Pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
So just to dive into what we have for today, we're talking about modernization and our Nigerian culture. Yes. So, Wilson, how would you define modernization?
Well, let's say in a layman term so that everybody can just have a flow or just flow with us. Modernization is just like the latest way of doing things. Easier, more convenient way of doing things, like an upgrade of what we're used to. You understand? A kind of a special terms that allow us to express ourselves, do things, travel, do so many other things that affect us both positively and negatively in the easiest way possible.
In the easiest way possible.
Yeah.
That's how you define modernization.
Yeah.
And over to you, Fred. How would you define our culture as a whole? How would you define it?
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Every people in every part of the world, they have their own culture. Narrow down here, Nigeria, in Africa, we have our own culture and how we do our things. So when we want to talk about a culture, like I've said, it's all about the people and their location and their environment. So our culture is our way and it's our life. So as an African, we have our own culture.
That's how you define culture?
Yes.
Okay.
And the rest of the world, like Europe and America, Asia, they all have their culture.
Okay. Just as we've said, modernization right now, I would say is rebate. That's how I'm going to define it.
Yeah.
It's an upgrade, like you said. It's an updated version of life. Yes. So, but now, what is its role as it has come to our culture right now? What do you feel are the effect it has made on our culture? Like, for example, how would you say it has come to restructure our family traditions or family structures? How would you say that?
All right, now, way back, you just get to realize that our parents, they have a certain way of doing things. You understand? I feel like saying that people giving birth to in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, they're the ones that are really in tune with our culture. Talking about the 70s, 60s, also they are the custodians. Beyond 60 and the rest of you can call them ancestors, we want to call them that. They have this basic way of doing things, which is a normal way that's been passed down to them from generation to generation. They're trying to pass it down to us. And you just get to realize that now there's a fusion between our culture, which is our way of life, and modernization, which is a modern way of doing things. You know, when a man wants to travel way back, either you use your feet to travel, you trek. It's like, take you days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. Now for you to get to a destination, depends on how far that particular point is from your place of abode, all right? So I'm naturally developing into trying to tame animals. I'm trying to go through memory lane right now.
Okay.
From animals like horses, donkeys, and the rest of them, just to make a particular trip. Now the time was reduced to, let's say, like some few days, you understand, to hours, depends on also the distance. Then cars came into the scene, that making things easier for us to move from one point to the other. Then to the ship, the boat for the right areas, the airplane, to fly like a bird, quicker, faster. You see, these are our ways of doing things before, but right now we have a pattern of making it to be easier for us.
Okay.
Now we talk about the family values.
Exactly.
Our parents really that they have a way of inculcating to us our way of life. They'll tell you this is the way you should behave when you wake up in the morning. You greet your elders. You say your prayers. You do your house chores. You have to do them properly before you go out there to school or have fun with your friends. It depends on the way you want to go about it. And these things are well monitored and well structured by both mom and dad. Now, if your mom and dad are not around, you get to see older persons, your neighbors, you understand it?
Yes.
Having the same impact of your parents when they're not around. That's why they say, yes, if a mom may give birth to a child, a mom may give birth to a child, but it takes a whole community to change that child.
Of course.
That is part of our culture, way back. You understand? So look, if your mother is not around, as long as an elder is around, it could be
Yes.
your neighbor, anybody is around, he or she always keeps a tab on children around, whether he's a biological father or not. He makes sure that they follow the simple tenets of our culture. You understand? Respect your elders.
Respect and to the
Don't
language.
fight. Don't bite. Don't go out nude. Dress well. You understand it?
Yes.
You as a man, you have your dignity as a man. You as a woman, you should start from that tender age, knowing your dignity as a woman. There are some things that you just can't do. Why? These things are imbibed in us by our parents because of the way they were taught. But now, juxtaposing it with what is happening nowadays, you get to hear, please, let me express himself. No, let her express herself. Whatever she wants to do, let her do it.
Since it's the modern way
it's
at
a
the
modern
moment.
way of doing things. So it's like there's this clash or this conflict between our culture and modernization. Now we're trying to find a balance point, a tipping
We'll
point.
get to that point.
Anyway, fine.
We'll get
fine.
to that
Let
point.
me just hold on for now.
Please do hold on.
All right.
So moving on, you've talked about impacting in our kids in terms to grades, in the language, in speaking and all that. So let's move on to education part right now. Coming to you, Mr. Fred. Fred, rather. Moving on to you. Okay.
Yeah.
In our education right now, we actually adopt the Western influence way of teaching and all. But do these methods that they use in school, does it really pass down our heritage down to our children? Does it pass down our beliefs, our customs, our values, and our traditions?
Okay. Me as an individual, from the angle I look at it from, I will digress a little bit from your question.
Okay.
In the sense that in Africa, like I've said, in our culture, we have a way of doing our things right from when we were born to grow to adulthood, But today, the problem we're having today, when it comes to modernization, talked about culture, the modernization we're talking about today is the root and the reason why deception became the order of the day. What we call modernization today is deception. They call it packaging. You understand what I'm saying? It's deception. People now begin to live fake life, all in the name of modernization. You understand what I mean? So it all starts from school. We talked about education, Western education.
Yes.
This whole thing put together, from the day we start adopting a Western culture, that is where we started having crisis and conflict in Africa. Ask me how.
How?
In Nigeria, or let me say Africa generally, to start with, our way of living, polygamy was not an issue. It was our way of life. Modernization, that is where we started having Western education, like religion, they import kind of another religion called Christianity and Islam and all of that. So we now adopt those styles, those way of life. That's not our original way of life, By so doing, the real culture of an average African individual
Okay.
is still in us. But because we borrowed Western education, Western religion,
knowledge,
and Western culture, we now start to deceive ourselves. That is the origination of deception. Today, everybody deceiving.
But let's not lie, even
All
with the
right,
Western
John,
involvement.
hold on. If I may comment to what
Okay.
you just said, because you raised a vital point. We have two forms of education. You have the formal and the informal kind of education. Now, for this formal, of course, the informal, they go in pari pursuit. The one that your parents will teach you at home, normal courtesy. You understand the way you relate with your neighbors, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, the way where they come from, the way they they greet, the way they embrace their tradition, the way they embrace their way of life. Now that is like the informal part of education. And when you get down to school, you get to the formal part of education. How to blend with an infused culture, because modernization talks about infusing other people's way of life, which is our own culture, into our own way of life and of course culture, and that may just lead to culture shock if you're not able to manage. But that's what we're finding it difficult today to find a balance. Like in a tipping point right now, we don't have a rhythm. Whether you are doing, instead of doing bigger, doing instead of doing that, because there's this conflict. And the conflict is more pronounced right now in the children of nowadays.
But then how do we now balance it?
Yeah,
How do we go about it?
that.
How
Now,
can we make it coexist in the same environment?
Yeah. Now, if you talk about coexistence, you have to know who you are. You have to know where you're coming from. You have to know where you're going to. That's why the culture of a particular individual will surely, definitely make that person to be able to know what kind of lifestyle to follow. From, you know, maybe let's say the American kind of style, of lifestyle, the British kind of lifestyle. They talk about Christianity, infusing it into our culture, which is like, you know, our normal traditional culture.
Let's not go
Islam
into
also.
religions.
No, it's part of it. I'm not going to bash any culture or any
Okay.
religion right now, but I'm trying to, like, you know, put it plain or make it plain. You understand? Now, when you bring these two together, now you as an individual, how are you going to raise a family as a man or as a woman? You have these two at the back of your mind. You understand?
Yes.
Now, if I take this from our culture, people like it's too extreme. If I go the model, be like, come on, that is not our culture.
not
Now,
our
how
culture.
do you strike
A balance in between them.
You understand? So striking a balance becomes a great deal.
True.
Some parents don't know how to teach their children how to strike a balance. Do you understand?
Probably even the parents don't even know
and
how.
more. Yeah, the parents don't even know how to strike a balance. You get to people like, please, leave my kid alone. Don't even talk to my kid. Don't lay hands on my children. They are my children, okay? If you want to cry, you have to come through me.
Come through me.
Not knowing that you are not always around. Way back, everyone must do one or two things to make sure that these kids are properly brought up. Because people are becoming scared of even laying hands. What you're doing is wrong. Look, let me correct you. Let me discipline you. You'll be like, I'll go and tell mommy and daddy. And when my daddy comes back, mommy, daddy, our neighbor beat me up. Our neighbor tried to discipline me. And the mother would start thinking. The father would start thinking nowadays, get so angry, get so vexed. And the matter of the neighbors has only again to be commotion, confusion.
Okay.
So even when the child is doing wrong, please, oh, I'm not the biological father, I'm not the actual mother. Go ahead, do what I want to do.
Because of the era in right now.
Yes, then you get to see that division, that confusion, that dissatisfaction in a way of blending both
Our
culture,
culture.
the modern, and of course our own way of living. And that's why we are where we are today.
Okay, in addition to what you've said, back to the education aspect of it, I remember back then in school,
Yeah.
junior secondary, we were taught different languages like Hausa, Edo, Igbo as subjects in schools. By that way, passing the knowledge to the younger ones. But it stopped at some point. I think it stopped in class 3. And there was no other means right now they actually do teach these subjects in schools. I doubt right now they even teach it in the first place. Like if you go down to the tertiary institutions, universities, currently in your first level, they teach you French. How are they going to pass knowledge, pass our heritage down to younger ones if it's not really being installed in our systems? So I believe that if it's installed in our systems, if, should I say, the educational system right now, is going to help keep our heritage alive. Mind you, what it's about is keeping our heritage alive, keeping our values, our customs, our beliefs alive. Even with adopting the foreign one, it just keeps it alive to make it keep on going because we have to grow. There have to be a change. Change is constant, no matter how you want to look at it. Whether be it, okay, it's foreign, it's modern, and alien stuff, you can't say, okay, because of culture, let me remain the same way I am. This moves me to my next question. Because of modernization right now, do you feel there are any tribes or cultures right now that is not being invaded by it? Fred, I'm asking you the question.
If you ask me, it's cut across board.
Across all?
Board,
You don't feel there is one
every-
strong one that's standing still?
No tribe, no ethnic group that's not affected by this modernization. Do you want to talk about the people from western part of Nigeria, the Yoruba or the south or southeast, north? So this is a problem everywhere. I want to be talking particularly in Nigeria.
Okay.
Because they say charity begins at home. You can't be talking about what's going on in America, Europe, and Asia. We're not talking about Africa, talking about Nigeria. Today, from the day we began to adopt this civilization, they call it when the colonial masters came.
Yes.
So they call it civilization. A lot of people embraced it. Some people resisted it. want to go back to the street, but that's not an issue for them. So, but I get a point where everybody now have to adopt this Western education
system,
Western religion, Western system of doing things. That is where our culture began to crash.
Well, I feel the western part of Nigeria right now, the culture still sounds very strong. Even with adopting the Western things, modernization coming its way, you can see a child for the age of 3 from the Western part right now can even speak fluently, even more than the older ones.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I'm not saying, let me tell you how it is. If it's affecting people from the West from this angle, it affects people from the North from another angle. It affects other people from North, the South side, like that, you understand?
But some angles do better than some.
Yes, yes. If you want to talk about the Western part of Nigeria, so to say,
yes,
I could still give it to them on one aspect. They still learn to speak their language. You can't take that from them. If you see any Yoruba person, what's your name? You hear
Femi,
you hear Oluwafemi, additional. You ask another person, you hear Toyin, all this. But come to South. You say, my name is Jennifer. You will tell you, my name is, you don't hear some funny name. Sometimes you say, what's your name? You say, my name is Linda. If you ask, what's the name of Linda? You don't even know. Check the names and meaning, you see that Linda means a sampet. People start becoming to bear names that they don't even know the meaning. So these are the effects of this modernization. So it has come to destroy our culture. You know, no matter how you look at it from, the negative impact is much more than the positive impact. Throughout the federation, I'm not talking about away from the south side, I'm talking about people from, look around everywhere. If you travel anywhere, you see that, go close to the set of people, you see that, you see some parts that, you see that, you know, like we're talking about a Western partner, they are still very good in speaking their language, you know, their way of life, they still maintain it, but go close to them. You see some rotten system, way of life, in the name of modernization. It's everywhere.
Okay.
So it's a serious problem.
All right, now if I should come in, because the number one thing that one should do in keeping our heritage alive, to be able to speak that language. I want to ask a rhetorical question. If you go to the north, south, east, west, even the 6 geopolitical zones, if you want to ask children to come out to speak their language, how many percentage do you think will speak the language effectively and efficiently without adding English language?
Currently, it's going to be like a 5%.
That's what I'm talking about. So it's
going to be like a 5%.
The eroding of this language is the beginning of the end of our culture. Because every culture, they have codes. The codes are embedded in their language.
In the language.
You know, so you have the Hausa, you have the Igbos, you have the Yorubas, you have the Edos, the Benis, you just name it. And their culture is built around their language, their way of communication. If you can crack that, what is being cracked right now, or hacked into by modernization vis-a-vis English, which is your general language or central language in your country is English, is being hacked into by English. You can't see a kid right now speaking Edo language without adding is, was. You understand? Trying to make a sentence in Edo language.
In Edo language.
You go to the Hausa region of faith. Though they are trying, but if you see the ones exposed, if you see the ones exposed to modernization, they have similar issues. You see them adding English to make this kind of adjective just to make a sentence. You're not trying to speak their language.
It's just that it's better off in the northern and the western part of Nigeria.
Yes, because they're
not come to south
because of exposure. You understand? Because if you see an average Hausa man, the foreign that is totally exposed, you get to feel that really we're almost in the same category because they have the same issue. They cannot speak their languages fluently. Although the ones in the hinterlands be like, okay, fine, they've not been exposed so much to this modernization, what you call acculturation in some other terms. They can stick so glue and so tight to their language, be like, okay, fine, this is what we know, this is how we relate. They can speak their language, but if there is an infusion, or let's say a cracking or hacking into the culture by modernization via English, that is where the problem comes. That's why people trying to do everything they can do so that the language still remains in the hearts,
That's why
mind, on
it
the
hurts
lips
currently.
of their offspring.
That's why it hurts currently that the Gen Zs, the younger version right now, the youths of our,
The
of our
millennials,
time.
the Gen Zs, whatever you want to call them, but
The Gen
honestly,
Zs. Currently, it's sad to say that they can't really speak their languages.
Yeah.
Yes. Take myself, for example. It's sad, yes, I know, but I really can't speak it. Not because I don't want to learn it, but circumstances, environment added to the whole thing. So I don't know why, but maybe you can tell me the reason why people of my era, youth as a whole, why do they seem, okay, why should we even learn it? Why should we even speak it? Is there even any need to learn these languages? Or probably some time back, actually, around my street, I heard a mom speaking her language to her kid. And the kid was like, "Mommy, please speak English. I'm not hearing what you're saying." So why is there no interest, even as a child, to learn these languages, to learn our culture? Why is there no interest? Do you feel you have any answer for me, Mr. Fred?
Yeah, if you want to talk about that, the parents have 95% blame on that aspect. Because me, for example, you know, at the time also I was not around. I left my children behind. When I came back, it was a little bit difficult to communicate with them in my dialect. So it got to a point, I'm an artist, you understand me? And I do most of my songs in Benin. I wrote them in Benin. How would it look like that? How will it look like that my children, I cannot communicate with my children in my local dialect? It was a serious business.
Mr. Fred, okay. Yeah. You know, before we continue this, we have to go on a short break. So you are still on to Flipside on Independent Television. Do stay tuned for more. Thank you for staying tuned. And you are still on to Flipside on Independent Television. So Fred, you were talking about something before we had to go on a break.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about, speaking of communicating in your language,
yes,
your local dialect.
Yes.
I was just setting an example with myself. At a point in time, to talk with my own children was a problem, to communicate with them. So I have to take it serious, deliberate about, you talking to me, asking me, I'll talk to you, you reply me in English, I say no, so you not keep, so it took a while.
Before they could pick up.
Yes. So whenever I'm at home, I will speak Benin to talk to them. Then at the point in time, we don't understand it at all. When we start hearing, but they cannot speak. So if you are talking to them and say, no, say it again, I will speak Benin. So at the time, if you ask me for something, I will give you. Or else you say it in Benin.
So gradually learn it.
Gradually, but today I'm grateful. Today they make parable, they crack joke in Benin. I'm so grateful today.
And they speak fluently.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
So,
I'm jealous.
So if I hadn't taken it serious at that point in time, I would have lost it out. You know what it is when you are home, maybe in a public place, maybe you have a lot of visitors in your house, you want to communicate to your children.
Yeah.
By way of just, you can, so, in our days.
Just I talked already.
Just blink, you don't look at you. You won't understand, you go connect. Say, Papa blink eye for you, you don't understand. You go so far, you go hear them. Next time, when the old man is sitting down, you'll be looking at him. You do like this, you know what he's talking about. You don't understand, you're in trouble. But not even to talk of when, okay, people are here. I know these people are here, they are not Beninese, okay. Let me just communicate to you to tell them what to do.
Only you will hear what I'm saying.
People then know what I'm talking about. They become an issue. It's a very serious problem. So I just want to use this media to advise every other person out there. Make sure you teach your people, your children at home, wherever you are, how to speak your local dialect. It's so secure and it has a lot of benefit to the family.
But sometimes actually it's not the fault of the parents.
Okay,
because
fine.
For example,
Yeah.
I'm going to use myself for example. My dad is Igbo, my mom is Benin. So you can't expect, okay, right now my mom is Benin, so she speaks Benin fluently, she communicates very fine.
Where did you grow up from?
I grew up in Edo State here, born and bred in Edo State here. I schooled everything in Edo State here. So I lean more towards the Edo part than the Igbo part. Mind you, my dad now, his mom is not, she's not Igbo. She's actually from Cross River. So how do you expect the language barrier now to actually not pass down to the 90s? Because even him himself,
at least,
you see, it's a whole lot.
At least your dad's an Igbo, your mom is a Benin woman.
Yes.
At least you can speak Benin fluently, that's good enough.
Well,
but not the situation.
I will not say fluently, don't want.
All right, but you can't speak because you know the children cannot speak your mom's side, can't speak your dad language.
That's when there's a problem.
I have a cousin based in Europe and based in the US.
Yes.
He has been there for over 40 years. He speaks Benin more than we that stays here in Benin.
Interesting.
The children speak Benin. When you call him, they talk to him in Benin. The children, they are half caste. They speak Benin like crazy. You imagine, So when you talk about people don't speak their language, it's 100% fault of their parents.
Anyway,
you can achieve
Joy,
yes,
Joy, I can relate to what you are saying because, let's say I'm in that category. But, you know, when you talk about speaking languages, you have two parents from different cultures, different cultural background. For instance, you get to hear things like Chegi, Fiabagi, Enukori, I'm speaking Sumorika, Mom's End. That is Agbo. Now, it depends on both parents. Now, what do you want your kids to learn per time? If the dad is speaking the language, the mom is speaking the language once in a while, let your kids go out there. You understand it?
Back
to
home.
spend time with their parents. This is not time to call them, which is a wizard. All my life, let's say more than 60% in Benin. You understand it? Why? You understand it?
I understand.
Now, so you should get to hear different languages. The popular one, Iga movie, that is Benin. You understand the Rieki. So it's like you can really pick languages. Is it Yoruba, Ekaro, Ekaso? You understand it?
Well,
so it's like it all depends on interest. Now, like what you said, the parents should be interested in their kids understanding their language. But some parents of now, there's the easy way out. He took pains to train his kids how to speak Benin. But how many father, how many mom, we have that time to patiently wait to make sure that our kids speak their language. Everybody wants the easiest way out. Hence modernization.
Yes.
Rather than saying, let's say now in Igbo, you just get to hear Bia. You understand in Igbo?
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
You just say, fine, come. It's easier, right?
Yes.
If it's to be Yoruba, wa, come. Let's just come here. Because the parents are now becoming lazy as the day goes by on how to speak their language. And that is the code. That is the key. That is the center of our culture.
Well, do you know that having parents from different cultures right now, and they both speak it fluently, can actually affect the child? Let me give an example. From a young age, where I served, of course, I served in Bayelsa. But the thing is, the child, he can't speak fluently. He's a 5-year-old child. He can't speak English fluently. He can't speak their own language fluently. He can't even speak Pidgin fluently because of the environment. So environment also plays a part in passing down our heritage and cultures. Environment plays a part because different languages put together at the same time into a small brain.
Now
how does that work?
Now let's crack that code. The human mind is so magnificently designed to the extent that if that human mind chooses to learn anything at a tender age, that mind can do it. The sharpest brain so far, the sharpest mind so far, the sharpest to pick up things is the mind of a child. You understand?
But what happens
now,
when
let's
that child
paint this
becomes
picture.
confused?
Hold on. Mom is from Edo. Dad is from Isiluku. You understand it? The school you are going to, they're speaking English. Quite easy. Mom wants to communicate. You speak the Edo. Dad wants to communicate. Speak Sabo. Please reply me in that language. By so do you feel you are punishing the child? No, you are making the brain to undergo so much good exercise of picking up languages. Like
so you're
me,
saying it's not going to
if I really want to
child?
speak, I can speak both languages if I see who I'll communicate it with. You understand that? When you get down to school, what do you speak in school? English. Put in English. It is not stressful, it's not strenuous. It all depends on what you expose your mind to per time. So don't ever underrate the ability of a child to learn, to pick up things very, very quick.
Fred add something to that.
Yes. You know, the economic hardship of this country today deprive parents to spending more time with their children.
With their children.
That on one side. But that does not totally mean that it's not achievable. If you're spending at least, one can only work 7 days a week. If you're spending 3 hours, 2 hours a day, for example, you maybe come back late. when that the situation whereby you turn back home for war, the children are already asleep. That's a different ball game. But it's a matter of determination. If you are determined and you feel that it is not the right thing that my children cannot speak my language, no matter how tight, how busy you are on a daily basis, you will still look for a way to communicate to your children in such a way that, like you've said, children learn faster. You know, when I was growing up as a young guy, I learned a lot of trade. I started learning arts. At the time, this handwriting, at the time, see, there was not much money on it. I entered into music.
You diversified into music.
The later part, I discovered that music, the way it was going, I started to learn disc jockeying, a DJ. So at the time, when my children were not growing up, from 14, 15, I started putting it through. Before I knew what was going on, they were much more better than me in disc jockey. Today, I have 2 of my sons, they are professional DJ. They're also singing. I'm working on a new song where I'm featuring both of them and some other artists. But the point is, before I start teaching them, they don't know past me.
Because they have this sharp mind.
You understand what I'm saying? I bought a desktop. I was just like, at the time, when I noticed that they were doing well, not bought a laptop. Before I knew what was going on, the other were teaching me how to do some certain things. Yes. I just surrendered that aspect of the business to them. But they're doing well with it today. Both of them are in school today, but they are doing well without them. You know what I'm saying? So don't say because you don't stay at home, because the economy of the country is so hard, that you don't have time. It is achievable. Even though you spend 1 hour at home, that 1 hour is a lot of time they can impact your children with 1 or 2 things on a daily basis, or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Just come and spend 1 week, just spend 1 hour, 2 hours playing with your children. They will learn nothing from you.
Even if you close late at night, at least if you can just go there, wake them up. How's your daddy to go? Just without 1 hour, you can play with them. Dad, you're back. You speak your language.
It's achievable.
Like what I do sometimes, I close at night. You understand? When I get to the house, come on, guys, let's play. We'll talk, we'll play, we'll watch movies. Just that bonding. Even that 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, go find kids, it's time to go to bed. All right, go and sleep. You get the point. But the thing is that we always look for the easy way out. I'm so tired, please. I just can't talk. I want to go sleep. You leave the kids there. You can't even speak to them. So tell me, that gap is already there. And people are saying that it's due to modernization. Yes, because you just cannot control, you just cannot curtail. That is why we're having these difficulties trying to make our culture, to keep our heritage. Because, I want to say it again, your language is a key.
It's a key.
In biochemistry, we call it codex. You understand it? That is the code. It tells you this is where you are coming from.
This is your root.
This is your root. This is the key of your forefathers passed down to you. And many of our languages right now,
they're fading.
Because no one is interested. But I find God right now, people are using modernized way of storing their languages. Actually, now that is a good aspect also modernization. So you can do anything. That's the easiest way of doing things, modernization. They don't know how to store it. They go online, go on YouTube. Actually. Okay, so this thing will not die. They start speaking that language, making videos on that language. What to do, just keep going. Because they need to store it. They know the importance of storing this data. Because if the data is lost, finally, that is the end of that language. And believe me, that is the end of the culture, because it starts with that particular language. Can you speak your language? Now, the language will tell you how your history started from, those that are connected to you, your ancestry, everything, the gods that you believe in, your tradition, everything is moved down from generation to generation via that codex.
So now you're saying we can actually use modernization to even preserve our
Sure,
culture.
Yes, you can. Like what I said, the easiest way, the ease of doing things, not the hard way. That we used to have this cassette. Now we have smaller gadgets where we can really store things. Now the internet is like, so wide.
It's very
you can
wide
put
indeed.
Anything there. Maybe you want to learn Yoruba language. Just go to YouTube, Yoruba. Okay, just type, how do you say welcome in Yoruba? How do you say this in Igbo? How do you say this in Benin? How do you say this in Sumerica? How do you say this in Akwa Ibom? How do you say this also?
And the determination and constant of
everything,
going through
yes,
that actually
everything just start coming out. Be like, wow. So when he said that people speak that language, even in foreign countries, yes, it is possible because of modernization. Now, that is the positive aspect of it. But when the negative aspects are overshadowing the positive aspect, then there is trouble. vis-a-vis nudity.
Another bigger problem there.
Okay.
Another bigger problem.
Yeah.
It is the Ministry of Education. The efforts they are putting in that you must get maths and English. Yes. If they put that same effort, say you must learn your local dialect, this thing will work. It will start getting better. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people went through WAEC like 4 or 5 times just because of maths and English. So if you put that same effort for people to learn their local dialect, it will be a simple thing. But you understand what I'm saying? So these are the issues. So sometimes you talk about the parents, you talk about the environment. The government also have a big role to play. These whole problems started by the government.
Well, I wouldn't really agree that the problem started with the government from the government. You mentioned Ministry of Education. You know, way back, Oluwa Primary School, there we are meant to take one particular subject. You understand? They call it vernacular.
Vernacular.
That is Benin.
Yeah.
It's a must for us to learn because Benin City then is the capital.
Is it so today? Is this so today?
That's why I had mentioned earlier that you need teachers from J1 to J3.
That is in charge of that. So that's why I directed to them. If is it to my father, is it the ITV will come and tell people to speak? So,
but still the ministry is not in our houses. So it depends on the parents right now.
I talked about the government, I talked about the ministry.
Yes.
It is government that controls the ministry. So the ministry is in charge of, educating people in every.
He's talking about the educational aspect.
Kind of education, or the informal kind of. You have to cover education.
2 types.
The formal and the informal.
You
understand? So if you talk about the formal kind, yes, you can say the ministry can do this, but the informal starts from the house.
We'll be talking here about the parents and we'll be talking about. So it's not only by the parents.
By the parents alone.
If you look at it beyond there, you narrow it down.
So it takes a village to actually train a child at the moment.
Do you know that children these days, not in our time. In our days, you have morning sessions, afternoon sessions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, a child go to school in the morning, from there go to lecture. You understand me? If you go back home at night, sometime around 7, 8 o'clock, you see some parents dragging their children with their school bag around 8 o'clock going home. You understand me?
Yeah.
They will not force them into kindergarten, into nursery, primary, and all of that. Then, after school, instead of the children to go home and learn, they will force into lecture. By so doing, they want to help the children to learn more.
Learn more.
In another way, they want to have enough time to concentrate on their business. So by so doing, they spend more time in school than home. That's why I still keep talking about the government and the ministry that's in charge of education.
But still, they don't force parents to allow
Teach
that
their
child
children
to go for lectures. To me, it's the parents. You understand?
Is it not the ministry that told you must write English, you must get English?
And they are going to need right now on the economic situation. To me, that might not be totally correct. Like what you rightly said, yes, they want to focus more on their business. Okay, please, let's carry Jane, let's carry John, give to the teachers. I'll come pick Jane or pick John up at about 6 or 7 p.m. Doesn't really matter. I have enough time to face my business. That's what we call the easy way out.
Easy way out, definitely.
And there is always a backlash. That's what
definitely, all hands have to be on deck, to train a child. It's not just the parents' job. It also has to do with the educational system, the government, and every other person.
Everybody.
But still,
everybody must be involved.
Exactly. So actually, you both be saying the same thing, just in different languages. Just in different languages.
It's you live with your own children, like you are living with a stranger. When they spend more time in school, they come back and start behaving funny. Have you not find a situation whereby my auntie say, my uncle say, it's a serious problem?
Listen to me, not your uncle in this aspect.
When you are telling something,
it does happen.
This is supposed to be like
no, my teacher said is this.
So that is.
So now moving down to our food now. Currently, I don't know if there actually anywhere you can actually even start learning how to cook our traditional dishes, because currently we just do noodles, just fine English continental food and all.
Joy.
So the cuisines, exactly.
Joy, talk about cuisine right now. It's not only noodles. Look,
are you sure?
We have African dishes everywhere. Till tomorrow, I still fancy what you call sometimes, some call it akbu, some call it 6 to 6. You understand? Because I started with that when I was little. So be like, whatever, to be like, come, I want to eat that. Now, if you go online, that's when that comes into play. They will teach you how to do it, because people are so smart nowadays. They're beginning to store their codes into The internet, there's story there. If you want to learn how to cook this food,
You
you
can
go
go
there,
there.
you see it there. You understand? That is one good aspect of modernization. If you want to
true.
cook this soup, you go there. It is there. You have to learn anything you can do. So modernization is not all that bad, but finding the balance.
Balancing it, finding
Just
balance.
strike a balance, and that'll be it. That'll just be
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this to my youth, the Gen Z generation. I'm going to say this to you. Because of modernization coming, we've got social media, doesn't mean you should neglect your culture, your roots. Trust me, right now, I really wish I could speak Igbo fluently.
You can still speak it. Just go to
Hopefully,
YouTube, just type
hopefully,
how
if
to
it's
say
enough
it.
time,
Just
I'm
speaking
definitely
it.
going to learn it, definitely.
Yeah.
Because it's sad when I see younger ones speak it fluently than I do. I can't even say, apart from B, I really don't know that word, which is actually hurtful. So I'm going to say this to you. Because of modernization, don't feel you don't need your culture. Your culture defines you. It is you. You cannot run away from it. Even if you go to a foreign land, definitely your name will stand you out. So just be you and find your way back home. Don't go anywhere. And this still remains Flipside on independent television, your favorite television. Trust me, you don't miss any packages that we have for you. It's been lovely with Wilson and Fred on studio today.
Well,
thank you
so
very
much
much for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for the
And
invite.
Definitely, definitely. So do have a nice day and stay blessed.
Healthy food isn't always tasty, but with regards to bananas, this isn't the case, which is why it's doubly pleasing to learn that they not only bring satisfaction to your taste bud, but also a great many benefits to your health. We'll be looking at why eating just 2 bananas a day can seriously improve your health. Bananas reduce high blood pressure thanks to the fact that they contain around 420 milligrams of potassium. Bananas are rich in fiber, which makes you no longer want to eat once consumed. Bananas also contain a kind of starch that reduces your appetite and stops you gaining weight. It reduces the level of sugar in your blood and raises your body's sensitivity to insulin. If your body's cells are sensitive to insulin, they can't absorb glucose and your pancreas begins to produce it in a larger quantity. Whether the body accumulates fat depends on the insulin present. Anemia causes tiredness and breathlessness. It's the result of a reduction in red blood cells and a low level of hemoglobin in the body. Bananas contain a lot of iron, which stimulates the production of red blood cells. Bananas also contain vitamin B6, which regulates blood glucose level, helping people with anemia. Bananas are easily digested and do not irritate the gastrointestinal tract. Resistant starch contained in bananas is not digested and ends up in the large intestine, where it serves as an effective nutritional medium for healthy bacteria. Bananas can be eaten when a person has gastritis and heartburn, and they restore the minerals lost when a person suffers from diarrhea. They contain phytoplankton, which is required by our bodies in order to receive serotonin, the happiness hormone. On average, each banana contains around 27 milligrams of magnesium. This mineral is responsible for producing a good mood and healthy sleep. Bananas are rich in vitamin B6. On average, one banana contains around 20% of our daily requirement of vitamin B6. This helps your body produce insulin, hemoglobin, and amino acid. They are needed for the creation of healthy cells. Although we usually think that oranges and strawberries contain the greatest amount of vitamin C, bananas actually contain 15% of our daily norm of this important substance. Vitamin C is an important antioxidant. It also helps keep blood vessels healthy and produces collagen. The potassium content in bananas protects your muscles from cramp, whilst the carbohydrates provides you with enough energy to endure a heavy workout.